Disclaimer: this video might contain inappropriate content that might be sensitive to most viewers. Please watch this with caution and the utmost respect. Thank you.
So she's smiling at me and telling me that she loves me, and I just look at her and I can't muster up anything. I feel nothing, and I feel empty, and I'm scared.
Oh my god, I don't fucking care.
Wow, that was one way to start a video, ain't it? I do apologize for the cringe intro, but I made this video last year and I didn't want to go to waste. Anyways, hello nerds and geeks, it's me, Naveen Speaks. In my first ever video, I will be discussing the history of Mortal Kombat and its fandom. And if you like it, please be sure to like and subscribe. Without further delay, let's begin. Before we delve into the fandom, let's start off with the game's history. Mortal Kombat was originally a standalone game created by Midway in 1989. It was later released into an arcade game in 1992. Since then, Midway has released multiple sequels, which include the Mortal Kombat trilogy, Mortal Kombat 4, Deadly Alliance, Deception, Armageddon, and Mortal Kombat vs. DC. However, on February 12, 2009, Midway filed for bankruptcy due to major debt, seemingly ending the MK's franchise. By 2010, Midway was bought by Warner Bros. Entertainment and established NetherRealm Studios for Mortal Kombat. There, the studio created Mortal Kombat 9 on April 19, 2011. This was essentially a retelling of the Mortal Kombat trilogy with their own spin. Since then, NRS has released multiple sequels such as Mortal Kombat X, 11, Mortal Kombat 1, the reboot, and an additional DLC called Chaos Reigns. Since then, MK hasn't released any new game content due to lack of production. However, NRS is creating a movie soon, I believe, but that's not really noteworthy for this topic, so let's just move on. Before I start, I just want to say that I only know Mortal Kombat through NetherRealm Studios, so I will be referring to them more than Midway. Now, I've only been a fan of Mortal Kombat for 2 years. I first started getting into it when my friend showed me a video of the Mortal Kombat 9 gameplay in 2022. Since then, I've been consuming so much of the Mortal Kombat media, from video games to animation to fanfiction, you name it. However, as I delve deeper into the Mortal Kombat rabbit hole, I noticed that there's a strong bias within the fandom. Now, don't get me wrong, there isn't anything bad about having biases. In fact, some biases can improve problem-solving skills by identifying different patterns and thinking accordingly to solve that problem. But since I'm talking about Mortal Kombat here, there won't be as much problem-solving. When it comes to the NetherRealm Studios' interpretation of Mortal Kombat, fans and critics are quick to have some sort of cognitive bias. So why specifically cognitive bias? What even is cognitive bias? Well, cognitive bias is a systematic thought process caused by the tendency to simplify or fully reject information through a filter of personal experience and preferences. But if cognitive bias helps with problem solving, how can it be harmful? In most cases, cognitive bias can contribute to poor and unfair judgment, especially when that judgment can affect the way we consume media. From my experience in Mortal Kombat, fans have been the most biased between different characterizations, whether that be through race, gender or sexuality, plot, and even the companies themselves. Black female characters such as Jackie Briggs, Tanya, and Cyrix from the MK1 universe are more prominent to be discriminated against based on their appearance, motives, and even depiction throughout the MK series. Unfortunately, this isn't just a Mortal Kombat problem. In fact, Black women in different media are heavily underrepresented and often looked down upon. In the scholar work Art Imitates Life, the representation or lack thereof of Black women in video games by Bud Gatson, the author makes an important claim that because of the systematic racism built on white supremacy and misogynoir, the historical evolution of Black feminism in the United States is not only developed through Black stereotypes, but also how the media consumed these harmful portrayal and used it to characterize all Black women. This is almost ironic because Mortal Kombat is known for its diverse characters. As a black non-binary student, it's very painful to see racist comments of these black characters on Reddit, YouTube, and even Tumblr. Along with racism, misogyny in the Mortal Kombat fanbase is no secret. As Mortal Kombat progressed over to NetherRealm Studios, women have grown to be less sexualized and played more dominant roles throughout the series. Because of this change, most fans complained that the women were unattractive and threatened NRS developers to revert back to their revealing attire. One example of this outrage is when YouTube commenter True Underdog made a petition on his Twitter and YouTube community post to enforce cyber swimsuits for female Cyrex in Sector, further engaging with the sexualization of female characters in video games. With Sector and Cyrex being gender swapped in MK1's DLC Chaos Reigns, fans believe that the gender swap was only implemented to add more relationships within the timeline. While it's true that Sector and Cyrex were intended to pursue romantic relationships, I believe it doesn't overall deter their characterization. In fact, any formal relationship can build up motives to create a sense of agency for that character. For Sector and Bihan's relationship, both of them share goals and concepts of building the Lin Kuei. So even if there is a gender swap, the relationship does make sense to a point. This Tumblr user made some pretty good points on Bihan and Sector, so I recommend looking at them for more information. Since 2015, there has been a new splurge of canon and implied relationships in Mortal Kombat. In addition, there has been a handful of LGBTQ+ characters, examples being Sindel, Melina, Tanya, and Kun Jin. However, it didn't stop fans from creating their own LGBTQ+ ships, with the most well-known being Subscorp, Janshi, Jaitana, and many others. With the new changes of MK1, most fans were claiming that NRS were erasing queer characters and relationships.
Please forgive the sudden robot voice, but I need to make an interjection. For reference, I am pansexual, so my personal view on cis relationships might be different. While I do believe that NRS's interpretation of relationships can be improved, it does have greater potential than Midway. Sorry older fans. What really pisses me off is when fans were so quick to call queer erasure when non-canon ships weren't implemented in the game. I'm not trying to say that NRS shouldn't have more LGBTQ+ representation, but being blatantly offensive to the already canon ships within the series takes away actual queer erasure that purposefully diminishes the existence of the queer community throughout any other media platforms. Sorry about that. Let's move on.
Ed Boon and Dominic Ciansolo are the main writers and directors for Mortal Kombat in NetherRealm Studios. As of 2023, they released a reboot of Mortal Kombat named Mortal 1 Kombat. After the dissolvement of the previous timeline, newly demigod Liu Kang resets the universe to create a more peaceful timeline. With the significant change of the story, it's almost difficult to adjust to the new storyline. Personally, I don't like all the changes either, and I think it's even more difficult to find someone who actually does. Nevertheless, I believe that providing different perspectives can accommodate and even further regulate the story. It's important to take note that the earlier timeline is nearly irrelevant to MK1. So rather than trying to implement old lore, why not use what is already canon and interpret our own theories? For example, let's take Hanzo, who is a child in MK1. Hanzo's survival guilt could parallel Tomas's. Rather than accepting the death of his clan, Hanzo's emotions could turn him to be more vengeful and become more irrational and radicalized. Another example could be Bihan. His irredeemable actions and a hatred towards his family could symbolize the corruption of leadership and foreshadow his ultimate downfall. Now here's a side note. I know some fans believe that Bihan should have gotten a redemption arc, but this man openly claimed that he's willing to kill his own family to remain in power. So I don't know if we could redeem him even if we tried. That being said, there's nothing inherently wrong with maliciously evil characters if written correctly. However, there is a difference between bad characters and bad character writing. Kotal Khan! I want to make it clear that there is nothing wrong with criticizing Boone and Cian Solo and giving them feedback to help them improve future games. However, there is a difference between constructive criticism and harassment. The NRS developers aren't blocking people because they can't handle criticism. They're blocking people because they're continuously being harassed and receiving death threats. Regardless of these changes, Mortal Kombat is still an enjoyable game and shouldn't be torn apart by its own hypocrisy. There's nothing wrong with having bias. Sometimes, biases can help us interpret different information in a nuanced way. But know that change is necessary for the world to function, even if some of the changes do kind of stink. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching my first ever video. And like I said in the beginning, be sure to like and subscribe. And with that being said, this is Nev Speaks, signing off. Before I start, I just want to say that I only know Mortal Kombat through NetherRealm Studios, so I will be referring to them as such. No! NRS developers aren't blocking people because they can't handle criticism. They are blocking people because they're receiving death threats. That's not cool, guys. Don't send death threats on the internet.